My name is Noah. I'm 24, and I love road trips. There's something about driving alone on an empty highway at night that's oddly peaceful. This time, I was crossing through the middle of nowhere, somewhere in the desert. Just miles and miles of empty road stretching endlessly under a dark sky. It was the perfect road trip, until it wasn't. It started around midnight. I noticed a pair of headlights far back in my rearview mirror, faint but steady. At first, I didn't think much of it. There aren't many cars on the road that late, but I figured it was just someone else on their own journey. But then, as I pushed the speed up to get through the next stretch faster, I noticed the headlights grew closer, matching my speed, always staying the same distance behind me. I pushed my car to 80, then 85. Still, the headlights followed, unwavering, creeping closer with every mile. I glanced back, trying to make out the vehicle. It was a large black truck. One of those imposing ones with raised suspension and thick tires that look like they're ready to barrel through anything in their path. A cold shiver ran down my spine. As I sped up, the truck did the same. I tried to tell myself it was a coincidence, just another driver in a hurry. But no matter how fast I went, that truck stayed on me. Its headlights glaring in my rearview mirror, blinding me. I felt my hands sweating on the steering wheel, my heart pounding faster with each passing minute. I figured I'd lose them by taking an unexpected exit. I saw a small road sign up ahead and took a sharp turn onto an unmarked, empty side road. For a moment, I felt a sliver of relief until I saw those same headlights appear behind me, faster now, and this time the truck's horn blared, long and loud, like an angry scream in the quiet night. I couldn't take it anymore. I pulled over to the side of the road, hands shaking, heart racing, ready to confront whoever was in that truck. But just as I got out, the truck roared past, barely missing me. I watched it vanish down the road, disappearing into the darkness like it had never been there. Hours later, I stopped at a gas station to calm my nerves, grab a coffee, and stretch my legs. I was trying to laugh it off, convince myself that I'd overreacted, but something still felt wrong. As I walked past a row of parked cars, my heart froze. There it was, the same black truck. Its windows were tinted black, and the cab was empty, silent. But as I looked closer, something on the window caught my eye. The missing persons poster was taped to the window, worn and faded. The face staring back at me was hauntingly familiar. It looked almost exactly like me. The resemblance was uncanny. Same jawline, same dark hair, even the same scar on my left eyebrow. My stomach twisted in knots as I backed away, feeling like I was staring at some warped version of myself. I jumped back in my car, heart racing, feeling a sick sense of dread. As I pulled out of the gas station, I glanced in my rearview mirror, praying that I'd just imagined the whole thing. But then, in the mirror, I saw them. The truck's headlights, slowly appearing behind me. The same blinding lights. They followed me all night, never losing pace, never falling behind. I kept driving, knowing that no matter how fast I went, the truck, and whoever or whatever was in it, would always be right there. My name is Kara. I'm 22, and I live in a small town just outside the city. Last month, I had a night shift at work, and by the time I was driving home, it was close to midnight. The roads were dark, nearly empty, and I was exhausted. So when I saw a rest area sign ahead, I decided to pull over for a quick break. The rest area was secluded, surrounded by thick trees on either side. There was only one other vehicle parked, a dark, old-looking van, sitting near the edge of the lot under a broken light. The place felt a bit eerie, but I convinced myself it was just my mind playing tricks. I parked a good distance away from the van and headed towards the restroom, but as I walked past, I heard it, a faint tapping sound coming from the back of the van. Curiosity got the best of me, and I found myself slowing down, Looking at the van out of the corner of my eye, I glanced into the driver's seat first. Empty. No one seemed to be inside, but the tapping continued, steady and soft, like someone desperately trying to get attention without making too much noise. My heart raced as I approached the back window and peered inside. There, in the dim glow from my phone flashlight, I saw her, a woman, gagged and tied, her eyes wide with terror. She looked right at me, her eyes pleading silently for help. My blood went cold, and 1,000 thoughts raced through my mind, but before I could act, I heard a voice behind me. "Need any help?" I spun around, heart pounding, to see a man standing way too close, his expression calm, almost amused. He looked me up and down with this creepy grin, and everything in me screamed to get out of there. Somehow, I forced a casual smile and shook my head, muttering something about just stretching my legs. I walked back to my car, forcing myself to stay calm, even though my hands were shaking. As soon as I got in, I locked the doors and sped off, heart hammering in my chest. I kept looking in my rearview mirror, terrified that the van would follow me. But it stayed in the lot, fading into the distance as I drove away. The next morning, I went straight to the police, describing everything. The woman, the van, the man's creepy grin. They'd promised to check it out, but when they called me later that day, they said they'd found the van. But it was empty. No woman, no man, nothing but a few scraps of trash and an old blanket. It was like she had vanished without a trace. I tried to move on, telling myself I'd done everything I could. But then, a few weeks later, I got a text from an unknown number. The message read, "You shouldn't have seen her." My stomach twisted, and I tried to ignore it, chalking it up to a sick prank. But the texts kept coming, each one more chilling than the last. The final message I got last night simply read, "You're next." Now, every time I drive alone, I can't shake the feeling that someone's watching me, lurking in the shadows, waiting. I've started locking my doors every time I get in the car, but I don't think it'll help. The feeling doesn't go away, and every time I see a van, my heart races. Part of me wonders if I'll ever feel safe again, or if that night was just the beginning. My name is Mark. I'm 29, and I've been a delivery driver for years. I'm used to the quiet roads at night, the isolation, just me and my thoughts. But one rainy night, something happened that I can't shake. It was a dark, stormy stretch, and rain was coming down so hard I could barely see the road ahead. Coming around a curve, I noticed an abandoned car on the shoulder. Its headlights were on, engine running, but no one was inside. I don't know what possessed me, but I pulled over a few feet behind it, grabbed my flashlight, and stepped out into the rain. As I got closer, a shiver ran down my spine. Blood smeared the steering wheel, enough that it was clear someone had been hurt, maybe badly. I glanced around, calling out, hoping to find someone nearby who needed help, but the only answer was the relentless sound of rain. Then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw a purse on the passenger seat, with a driver's license sticking out. I picked it up, squinting to read the name under the dim light. Claire. She looked young, early 20s, with a bright smile that felt unsettling in the circumstances. Just as I pulled out my phone to call the police, I caught something in my rearview mirror, a shadowy figure standing beyond the glow of my car's headlights, barely visible through the rain. I couldn't make out any details, just a tall, dark shape, unmoving, like it was watching me. My heart pounded as I dropped the license back on the seat and backed away slowly. I felt this overwhelming urge to get out of there, like something terrible was about to happen if I stayed. I rushed back to my car, locked the doors, and sped off, my hands shaking as I gripped the wheel, glancing in the mirrors, half expecting that figure to start following. But the road behind me remained empty. The next morning, I couldn't shake the dread from the night before, so I looked up missing person reports. My stomach dropped when I saw her face. Claire, The woman from the license. She had been missing for days, last seen with an unidentified man. But the worst part, the description her family gave of that man, it matched me. Since that night, I've been haunted by strange visions. Whenever I'm alone on those empty roads, I see her face in the rearview mirror. It's faint, like a shadow or a trick of the light, but her expression is desperate. Her eyes pleading, her hands bloody as if reaching out for me. Every glance feels like she's asking why I left her there, why I didn't help. No one believes me, but I know she's out there, somewhere, waiting. And every time I'm back on those dark, empty roads, I feel her presence, a lingering shadow. One of these nights, I'm afraid she'll finally catch up to me, and I'll be the one who can't escape.